Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for another end of season review. Yes, that's right, 3 in one day. Doing them in batches now. We've got to get them done, for goodness sake. It's nearly June. Coventry City today. We're going to be talking about Coventry's first season back in the Championship after winning League One. Standout best side in League One, weren't they, last season? And a nice scene change for Coventry, isn't it? They always were the club that we would hear supporters, you know, kind of rightly complaining about what was going wrong with the ownership and not in their stadium and all these problems that they've had over the years, and, you know, perennial top flight team. You know the deal. And over the past couple of 3 seasons, things moving in the right direction, you would agree, for Coventry. So having got grumpy in my Stoke one and been a bit confused in my Blackburn one, I think we can go a thumbs up for Coventry. And look, you're winning before you've started. Even if you go down, how you're going to finish higher than you did last season, aren't you? So Coventry obviously finishing 16th, and they were in League One last season. So a bump up of a nice 8 places in the old pyramid for Coventry. Let's go into a little bit more detail. There is the kind of tail of the tape for Coventry since being relegated down from the Championship into League One. I mean, look, 15th, 18th, 17th. One good season there in 2015-16 where they finished 8th. Now, I believe Coventry fans may chase me up on that. There's one season where they've got a ridiculous team, but they don't do anything, where they've got Fleck and Mattheson and Armstrong. Maybe it's later. Pass. But I know that's in there somewhere. Look at that. Relegated in 16-17, down to Tier 4. Oof. Straight back up. 6th playoffs. 8th place in League One. 1st place the following season. Good side, actually. And bear in mind, my team, Ipswich, were in that division that season. Still are. Probably be there forever. But this team with O'Hare and Shipley and Godden. And we always say in League One, don't overcomplicate it. But if you can play football in League One and you can actually gather together the players who are able to do it, you will, you know, you will not find too much competition. It's normally a case of, look, don't make mistakes and take your chances. And if you've got the better players, League One can be fairly rudimentary. But Coventry played good football, and they've got a good thing going under Mark Robbins, haven't they? There is the summer business. Let's look at the outs first. Bosma, Wakefield, Alasani, Walters, Hickman, Maycock, Mason, Westbrook, we think for a fee. Eccles on a loan there. Ponticelli to Wrexham. So look, the first thing we're looking for in terms of what, say, a Luton or a Barnsley did the season before, did they sell all the players that got them promoted from League One? Remember? And look, it's probably helped both of them in the long term. Jack Stacey and James Justin going out of Luton for loads of money. Barnsley less so, because it really hindered them at the start of that season. God, Pinnock, Lindsay, Davies, Kiefer Moore sold all the key components of the team, didn't they? This didn't happen with Coventry. You then wonder, is there money in the bank? If you don't do that, it's a running battle. But no big players out. But look at that, one big player in. I like it. Audacious. Gus Hamer, 1.35 million. But I like it a lot. It's clever recruitment, that. It's a player with possible European pedigree. So you straight away, you know, whether you like it or not, Little Englander or not, there's more countries available seem to go for these players rather than English players. He's young. They've spent good money on him, knowing there's some calibre there. And you then, as in all Championship clubs have to do this, you have then your saleable assets which you can start to build. So Hamer, if he does the job, is going to be a good one. Turned out he did. Giles on loan, only turns out for the first half of the season. Da Costa, O'Hare. Now that's an important one. That's a really good signing, that. 22 on a free transfer. There is a player who may well make Coventry a profit in the future or shoot them up the pyramid. Hilner, attacking mid. We didn't see him very much. Name's not ringing any bells. McCallum back on loan from Norwich. God, I wonder if he'll be back again next season. Ostigard on loan. Excellent. Tyler Walker for a fee. Sheaf on loan. So look, that's good. When you consider Gus Hamer, Tyler Walker and Callum O'Hare are permanents in that window will go down as a really good window for Coventry. Tyler Walker obviously on loan at Lincoln in League One. But look, a young player as well, 23 years old. And yes, a few loans in there and you have to top that up every year. But if your permanents improve and make lots of appearances, they will increase in value. It's go figure, unless you pay massively over the odds for them. So I like the recruitment a lot. Very good window for Coventry back last summer. Not such a good start though. Found the Championship hard going there. Look at that. First 11 games, only 8 points. And anyone who's watched my channel for any more than one video will know 1 point per game. That's your standard. You want to get in the Championship, you want to stay in the Championship. 45 to survive, or just target that 1 point per game. You get to 46. And target that through the season. Even after 3 games, target it, for goodness sakes. Coventry, after 11, weren't hitting it. Look at the goals against as well. 23, worst in the division because of, look, 4 against Blackburn, 3 against Watford, 3 against Bournemouth, 2 there against QPR in a victory. So look, leaky defence, 2 goals per game. Only victories, look, both of them were 3-2 against QPR and against Reading. Funnily enough, I think we did both of those games on Friday nights on Sky on the watch-alongs. But look, not viable stuff at all. Relegation on the cards if that plays out. You know it, I know it. They needed to improve. They did improve. But come on, do the maths fairly simply. You're leaking goals at 2 per game. Your only wins are both 3-2 home wins, so you're even conceding goals in those. 2 wins in the first 11, less than a point per game. Something had to change. And when I say change, often that can just mean a team growing into the season, can't it? Or growing into the league. And continuity has been a key point with Coventry, with Robbins being there a while. Pattern of play, lots of last season's players in there. So when I say something's got to change, that could just be the players rising up to the level of the league and, you know, not necessarily, oh, we've got to change systems, got to be a new player in. And of course, new players do have to bed themselves in, don't they? 22 points in the next 15. Look at that for a run as well. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games there. You've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 points in the next 8 games after 8 points in the first 11. So, keep with the pattern of play. Keep with the project, the philosophy, whatever you want to call it. And the points did start coming. Look at that, some tight ones there. A 2-1 at Wickham, a 1-0 over Cardiff, a 3-1 over Rotherham. Just isolate those opponents as well. Sheffield Wednesday down there. We said this about Leeds in the Premier League. If you are beating those teams that end up in the bottom 3, they will not be able to claw you back down into a relegation battle. And please, I'm not being patronising to Coventry here. That's the deal when you come up from League One. Stay in the league. Build the next season. You know, okay, some teams might go straight to halfway up the league, but the main thing is don't be in that bottom 3 and, you know, work from there. But look, really, really good stuff from Coventry there. Again, the win. Sheffield Wednesday, Millwall, Wickham, Rotherham, and Cardiff all beaten. They're all going to be relegated as well. So key draws against Birmingham, 1 against Norwich. Yes, they had lots of injuries then, didn't they? Derby, again, didn't lose to one of those rivals down there. Luton, a draw. Lots of 0-0s, I do have to say. In fact, 3 0-0 draws at home in a row. And I think 5 out of 6 draws in a row at home. But look, don't lose. Get that run going. Get the point per game on the table. Very, very decent run that from Coventry. The type of run, especially with it being over 15 games, the type of run that teams that get relegated just don't really have, do they? Not that sustained for that long, for sure. Here's the January business. There you go. Hildner goes out on loan. No wonder I never saw him. As does Castanier. All these Coventry squad players I've never heard of because I've never gone near the first team. Giles, well, that was an experiment that didn't work, I guess. Was McCallum just ahead of him in those left wing back roles? Lee Camp, you can still find him, can't you? Matty James comes in on loan. Bit of a signing of intent, really, because Barnsley took him as too expensive in terms of the salary, and Valor and Ishmael wanted to play Ramal Palmer or Herbie Kane, a player they were in full ownership of rather than a loan player. And, you know, Leicester to Coventry is fairly local. I don't know what the Matty James contract situation is. Actually, I know he was on a nice wedge of money, and he was good for Barnsley, so a decent pick-up there. Josh Reed in from Ross County. Fabio Tavares from Rochdale. Victor Gyökeres as well. Another player who'd been on loan. I don't know whether that was a preference for Coventry, taking players who had literally played in the Championship this season. Obviously, Gyökeres was at Swansea in the first half of the season, same as James was at Barnsley in the first half of the season. So whether that's a market teams will actually look at players released from loan. Look, Giles himself went from Coventry to Rotherham mid-season. So just a little tweak. But remember, the good work for Coventry was done in the summer window, as it should be, really. Unless you're Alex Ferguson and Vidic and Ever in the same window in a January. Wow. 9 points in the next 12. Another drop-off for Coventry there. Only wins over Derby and, surprisingly, Brentford, which takes us to game 38. And that points per game advantage with all of those defeats. Look, lost to Forest, to Cardiff, to Norwich, to Swansea, to Borough, to Luton and to QPR. So now 39 points from 38 games. And I believe, let me check my dates on there. Yeah, 2nd of April. We're closing in on Easter and that big week, and Rotherham obviously having all those games in hand. I steadfastly looked at point per game, and were 4 teams going to get above that? 3 teams going to get above that? 2 teams going to get above that? You know, down in that bottom 6. Who knows? And it turned out that Rotherham didn't. So Coventry did look under pressure there, didn't they? The defence has sorted itself out a little bit now. You can see a few teams either caught up or worse than Coventry defensive-wise, but certainly in trouble going into the last 8. However, how good is that? That is the last 8 games for Coventry. They got 16 points. Holy hell, 16 points. So 2 points per game is your 92-point standard. So they were in promotion form for the last 8 games of the season. And, you know, we looked down there and Sheffield Wednesday had chances to get away. Derby had chances to get away. Rotherham had chance after chance after chance to get away. And 2 teams put runs together, Birmingham and Coventry. And as it happened, there wasn't a big rising tide. And the bottom 4 in the end just stank it out between them. And Coventry miles away from it in the end. And come of the hour, look at that. Rotherham 0, Coventry 1. That was a massive head-to-head game. Leo Ostergaard putting in the goal. At that point, that was the biggest game of the Championship season. That one, Rotherham and Coventry. And Coventry showed up and won. Not only did they win that, they then won 3 in a row across that next week. A loss to Preston, but they were kind of safe by then, weren't they? And then, strangely, on the last day of the season, won 6-1 against Gary Rowett's Millwall. There we go. Last day of the season. All fun and games, but the point stands. What a finish by Coventry. 16 points from the last 8 games. A second really good run during the season. If you take those, what are we doing? Let me add it up, actually. The 15-game run was 22 points in 15, and this is 16 points in 8. So that's 23 games, which is exactly half a season. And we had the 16 points, 38 points. So basically, for half a season, they were in playoff form, weren't they? And I'm not just throwing out the best games, because it's easy to do for anyone. they're big chunks, aren't they? 8 games and 15 games. It's only 2 chunks I'm using to do that. So, little bit for Coventry this season, wasn't it? There's the final table. Excellent. Really, really good. 55 points. I'm banging on about 45 to survive. And with that big, big run at the end of the season, 55, I don't know, go miles clear. I don't know, we can find something that rhymes like 45 to survive. But very good. 16th. Look, above Forest, above Bristol City, above their rental home stadium owners of Birmingham, Huddersfield, Derby. And then, of course, look at their 2 fellow promoted League One clubs, Wycombe and Rotherham, both down as well. So really good. Really, really good job from Coventry. And look at Luton and Barnsley last season as well. They were both right on the edges of it. They weren't safe until, in Barnsley's case, stoppage time on the last day, were they? So good job, Coventry. I think a fairly easy one to all agree on. Here's the summary. So, first one, Year 4 Robins, League One win, strong continuity and pattern of play. All of those things, really, really important. Same manager, if they're doing a good job and the trend is upwards, keep them in there as long as you possibly can. I know firings come thick and fast, but then with the continuity and the pattern of play, and particularly the way they played as well, Coventry, that we did see even in League One, moving the ball around and some flair players as well. I mentioned Shipley and Godden and O'Hare at the top end who, you know, really did nail it in League One, didn't they? So they came into it with something already there to, you know, fall back on, let's just say. Smart recruitment, and I'll read the next one out. Look, Hamer, Walker, O'Hare, young and value rising. That's really good, isn't it? And I don't know, it's undisclosed on Walker, but let's say it's 2 million quid or thereabouts for those 3 players. I like that. I like that a lot. And, you know, you got attackers there. You've got a 10 or a wide inside forward playmaker in O'Hare. Not really a playmaker, but, you know, a creative guy. And Hamer, who's just box office in the midfield. So brilliant. And then they got the loans right, didn't they? McCallum, Ostigard, James. Impactful loans. I remember doing the Swansea version of the season review and kind of concluding if their loans had been impactful, that could have made all the difference there for the Swans. I appreciate Gray and Hurahan that end before anyone picks me up. But you know what I'm saying? For Coventry, you can really look. Ostigard, James, McCallum. James obviously only there half a season, but Ostigard was virtually in there every game. So was McCallum, and job well done. And you'd expect Brighton and Norwich to look at Coventry and go, okay, it's a good place for our guys to be if they're not going to be anywhere near the first, especially Brighton, where they've got Dunk and Webster and White as their centre-backs, and Clark as well out on loan at Derby. So you'd expect Coventry could get Ostigard back next season. And then didn't sink below 1 point per game, plus viable run. Just got to keep above it. I say didn't sink below. We looked at that first, what was it, 11 games, and they were below then, weren't they? But they didn't let that become a thing that then got 4 points behind, 5 points behind, and you're not winning games. You're never catching it up. Believe me, this guy's had to cover West Brom and Sheffield United and Fulham in the Premier League this season, and they just kind of clawing at it and getting nowhere near. And that viable run, 22 points in 15 games from round 9 sort of up to, what would it be, round 24, really, really stood them in good stead. There was another bad run, but brilliant finish. And I don't really know what that speaks to, the brilliant finish. I mean, you can talk about character, going to Rotherham, getting that win. You can talk about quality, talk about growing through the season. You can talk about pattern of play that sometimes, I always say you're behind, aren't you, on pattern of play. You work at it, you work at it, you work at it. It's getting good, it's getting good. It's getting good now. The results come then, after you. And maybe, you know, sometimes that's the thing. And look, it's very obviously a team that grew into the season and comfortably finished the season. So, yeah, very decent. And look, return to the Rico. What next? Well, you would hope for Coventry that, and this may be if they decide to sell someone, let's face it, we're talking about Gus Hamer, aren't we? I think they could get decent money for him right now. But, I don't know, if there's something there to invest and they can replicate another 3 permanents like, who are the 3? Walker, Hamer and O'Hare, and they have impactful loans again, then, you know, they could rise up the table. You have to suggest that they're in a better state now than they were at the start of last season. But, of course, we do know you have to replace the quality of loan players. So, if Matty James isn't there, if Sam McCallum is not there, Leo Ostigard is not there, Victor Gyökeres a bit of help, you've got to at least get that amount of quality back in or output or match it somewhere else on the pitch. So they've got to recruit well again. If they do, and if you know, players can step up into this division and become stable championship players, then, you know, the next step up is challenging. You go up 15, 14, 13, and then there's the top half at 12, isn't it? And Luton got in the top half in their second season. Barnsley, for God's sake, got in the top 6 in their second season. So it's not impossible, but it has to be the continuation of the trend up for Robins, for Coventry, and for players in that squad as well. But it all bodes well, and it's a club that's been trending up. Remember those list of seasons and up from... God, I think the trend up must be 4 or 5 years. They've improved on their league position every year. I think I'm probably right in saying now, haven't they? So, look, it's a fairly obvious thumbs up for Coventry and a well done from me. A patronising pat on the head. Brilliant stuff. Coventry, no, of course not. Job well done by Mark Robbins and the players there. And, yeah, I've had my say. You have yours. Get your views in the comments. That is my Coventry City season review. Let me know if you agree, if you can put a little bit of extra meat on the bone. Please feel free to do so. Get lots of comments saying on these season reviews, Ben, yeah, good knowledge considering you don't support the team. Don't type that. Can you imagine saying that out loud to someone? Deary me. But feel free to have your say. But yeah, we do get some kind of blunt things that are supposed to be compliments that kind of come out a little bit. It's a bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, do get your comments in, and do get your comments in on what may or may not happen next year, especially as it pertains to the return to the Rico. Hopefully that's a good deal, and maybe there may be money, extra money, more money. Football's skint apparently, but who knows? And yeah, the likelihood of any of those decent players moving on, which doesn't have to be a bad thing if you reinvest the money adequately and smartly. So yeah, thumbs up for Coventry. Get your thoughts in the comments. It's another season review done. How many have we got to go now? I can probably look at this if I bring the old table up. Forest, Birmingham, Bristol City, Huddersfield. 4 to go. Nearly there. That means I must have done 25 or 26 or something. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. We'll try and get all of these done before the playoff final. I'm setting myself challenges I can't keep up to there, aren't I? Thank you everybody for watching. It's big over and out. From me, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I'll be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.